Hey, Dr. Dan here. Exercise programs for seniors. We've really missed the mark. First of all, I don't even like the term senior. So, right out of the gate, I think that's a mistake because who is a senior is so relative, right? Some 70-year-olds, they're seniors. Other 70-year-olds, their mom is a senior. Some 60-year-olds think they're seniors. Other 60-year-olds would find that insulting, right? So you got to be careful with even the term. But when we think about designing exercise programs for aging adults, active agers, older adults, I think we've really missed the mark. So I'm going to be doing a full CEC course for PFP in March. You might want to check that out. But here are some highlights. Really, I think we need to be thinking about what life are we designing for our clients, right? Do you want to be living the life of your dreams in your 70s? Absolutely rocking it out on the beach and doing whatever it is you want to do? Or do you want to be thinking about moving into assisted living in your 70s? These women are both in their late 70s. So, what life are we designing for our clients, and how are we really thinking about that with function and vitality? Functional longevity is really what it's about, maintaining your ability to do what you need to do, want to do, and like to do as late in life as possible, right? I mean, who doesn't want to be playing wiffle ball in the backyard with their grandson someday? You got to have some ability to be able to do these things, right? Doesn't mean you got to be able to run a marathon or, leg press 1,000 pounds, but you've got to have enough functional ability to keep doing stuff you enjoy doing. So, what impairment level factors do we have to be training? Oh my goodness, look at them all, right? It's a little daunting and a little overwhelming when we start thinking about designing programs. But if you think about it, it's a little daunting and overwhelming if we're designing programs for athletes. At the end of the day, it's the same sort of thing, right? An athlete wants to perform well on the field. Our older clients want to perform well in life. And so we got to be training a huge myriad of things, a huge myriad of things. In fact, Cody and I designed what we call the 6 domains of human function: balance, neuromuscular, strength, cardiorespiratory, mobility, cognitive. And every one of these has so many sub levels, so much so it starts to get overwhelming. And then we hear recommendations like, well, you got to be doing 150 minutes of cardio a week, and you got to be doing balance training twice a week, and power training twice a week, and strength training 3 times a week. And pretty soon you're like, how many days in the week do I need to be training? So we have to be doing a lot of things. Again, think about your 72-year-old client like an athlete that wants to perform in life. If they're going to do that with good coordination, with good speed, with good power, with aerobic power, with balance, with agility, with obstacle negotiation, we're going to have to train a lot of stuff. And this is where we quickly realize like chair based stuff is probably not going to be sufficient. Huge variability in all these impairments means huge variability in functional ability. This is why someone at 70 can be old, somebody else at 70 not old at all. Fit, vibrant, functional, active, doing all kinds of things. In fact, you don't think of them as a 70-year-old. Huge range of function. Some people live into their 90s on the blue line, totally independent. Other people cross the disability threshold in their 60s and are thinking about assisted living. There's so many different start positions. I asked AI to to pretty this up a little bit. It's sort of funny. AI doesn't know what side by side is, right? That's your feet side by side. It put two people side by side. I got a kick out of that, so I left it in. It doesn't know semi-tandem or tandem. Tandem is your feet in tandem in line. Semi-tandem is slightly staggered. There's so many. This is obviously not all the start positions, right? But when we think about older fitness, a lot of times we think about seated. Um, I actually like that AI put the seated on the floor, right? Not chair based. Seated comes in how many different functions, right? I mean, in a chair, on a bench, on a stability ball, on the floor, on a piece of equipment. There's probably 5 or 6 varieties of seated. And of course, we have half kneeling, full kneeling, laying on the floor, and all sorts of standing up start positions. Exercise movements for power. And this is just a small sample, right? Here's someone on a Kaiser leg press. We've got red light, green light games. We've got what time is it games, jumping jacks, medicine ball throws, line hops, power stands, jumps, you name it. And this is only the beginning. Of course, we have plyometrics as well. Specific strategies and techniques for all of these need to be discussed and thought about, and I will go into great detail as to how we design programs for maximal functional ability when we do that webinar course with PFP in March. But I want you to be thinking about when you're designing programs for your client in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s, how is it addressing each of these areas? How are you impacting their neuromuscular, their cognitive health, their musculoskeletal, their strength, their speed, their power, their balance, their mobility, their agility? There's a lot of things we have to be training, which of course is why people should be training with us at minimum twice a week, but ideally 3 times a week. And they should be exercising more than 3 times a week. Just training with you 3 times a week is not enough. They got to be getting out and doing some aerobic work. They got to be getting out and doing some other things. They got to be training their balance at home. They got to be doing some cognitive things at home. Give them some homework. Here's some examples of a lower functioning client, right? A workout designed for them, right? We got chair stands, power stands. We got some narrow walking. We got some tandem standing. We got some step ups. We got some ankle sways. A lot of standing work that you don't even see, even for a lower functioning client. You don't see a lot of seated work here. And we only get down on the floor at the very end, which I always say that's the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. Oh, I don't want to get down on the floor. We're going to do a little bit of floor work at the end. And as we get into independent clients, right? Not our lower functioning clients, our typical older adults living in our community, in our grocery stores, our churches, volunteering at hospitals. They're doing all kinds of stuff, but they're not fit clients. Well, we can do more complex stuff with them. There shouldn't be as much complaining about getting down on the floor. Sleeping dog, that's stepping over. I should have added that. Stepping over a sleeping dog. Forward, backward, sideways, side to side, stepping over a dog. Had a client today, 78-year-old lady. I said, okay, let's start with stepping over your cat side to side. If that's easy enough, then let's try my golden retriever, right? So stepping over an object. If they don't have a pet, that's fine. It can be a parking block, those sorts of things. You get the idea. Independent to fit, higher functioning clients need higher designed, more challenging programs. Don't be afraid to make it harder and harder and harder. They don't want you to treat them with kid gloves and think, oh, I'm 75, therefore train me like I'm lower functioning. They want to be trained at the level they're at. So keep it progressive. And then, of course, if we get to fit clients, I mean, that it's kind of like the no holds barred, right? We're going to throw everything at them that we possibly can, all kinds of stuff. This one's really getting after it. In fact, you're going to go through this 3 times. I mean, we're going to really be moving, which is going to get their heart rate up and challenge and all kinds of challenge, right? So we want to make sure it's functionally appropriate, not age appropriate, functionally appropriate. So I might have one 50-year-old client, this is too hard for. I might have a 70-year-old client, this is the sweet spot. And then I might have another 70-year-old client, this is too hard for. So it's got to be functionally appropriate for what they can do. Can we do box jumps? Sure, why not? Oh, I thought I had the video in here. I'm sorry. I do have a video of this. I will show it in the full length presentation. This guy lands 6 or 7 box jumps. Again, functionally appropriate. Not certainly not appropriate for everyone. I want this to become the appropriate norm for everyone in their 70s and 80s. Why not? Why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't all 75-year-olds be able to jump and land a plyo box jump? Again, functional program design is about all of these different areas. And there's going to be some individuals that need more specific areas of highlight, and then we all need all of them. I'll stress that again. We all need all of them, all of us at all our ages. I'm 50 years old. I've got to be training my neuromuscular, my musculoskeletal, my cardio, my cognitive, starting to think about it. 50 years old. What am I doing to keep my brain sharp? Balance and mobility. Now, certain areas are going to be more important for me at my functional ability than others, right? An 87-year-old with cognitive issues, boy, we might be doing a lot of cognitive balance and mobility. That might be even more important than some of the areas, but we got to hit all of them. We got to hit all of them. So I'm gonna close this short video here with another what I call level 2 workout. This is kind of that independent, right? They're past the low functioning beginner workout, but they're not quite at what I would call the fit or even super fit level. Um, and again, these don't have to be overly complex. I think sometimes we think, oh, we got to have all this specialized equipment. You could do all of this with dumbbells and resistance bands. And this is just a 17-minute workout, which might take you 30 minutes if they need rest, catch their breath, if they want to take a seat, if they need to go to the bathroom. So we always have to remember if we design 17 minutes of work, there's got to be rest periods in there. Nobody's working 30 minutes nonstop full tilt. Doesn't work that way, of course, right? So think about that. So I hope you look for that webinar coming up in March. We're going to do a full 90 minutes and then live Q&A, and it will be approved for 2 continuing ed credits. But start giving more thought to the workouts you're designing for people in their 50s. What do they need to live an amazing life in their 70s? Remember those 2 women, right? You're helping your clients right now in their 50s and 60s design their 70s. You're helping your clients in their 60s design their 70s and 80s. You're helping your clients in their 70s right now design the rest of their decade and their 80s. So think about all the things that they want to do in life, right? Their sport is their life. What do they want to do? Train them for that performance, whether it's jumping, hiking, climbing, playing with their grandkids, playing a sport, pickleball, horseback riding, downhill skiing, whatever it happens to be. That function for life is the performance you've got to be training on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So I hope to see you on that continuing ed webinar. I hope this was helpful for you. Keep coming back for my video column. Thanks for those of you that have been checking it out regularly.